Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. I have a brief, sort of update here. Then I got a small, but I consider profound voiceover after this. And so YouTube is just screwing this channel unnecessarily. I've uploaded this video twice. It was uploaded yesterday, and I was hoping that it would be ready to go today. But YouTube flagged it. The original video was, I believe, 50 minutes. And then I took 7 minutes of it out here, and they flagged it again. Here's a flag there. And then they copyrighted it as well. There's a video of a cat who is on a runway. When the runway models are going down the runway, the cat's like swiping at it. And some reason that was copyrighted. But this video, despite the copyright, was flagged. So I took another couple minutes out of the video, and nothing that was in the video was what I consider, and I know the rules fairly well, was not what would be considered advertiser unfriendly. And then I took another 2 minutes out of it here, and so I deleted about 10 minutes of content, and they're still flagging it here. Right? I'm going to delete this video. This one's is being reviewed right now, and they'll probably take God knows how long, because I've had this other video up here, which I put up on the 1st, and it's now the 5th, and they still haven't reviewed it. And this is time-sensitive stuff, and they're just killing my channel by doing this. And I'm pretty sure they're going to pass that one through when they finally review it. It used to take only a day for them to review it, so YouTube just sucks, and I don't know if I'm going to what I'm going to do here, and the terms of maybe I'll just upload on my other channel until they stop flagging everything here. I don't know. We'll see. But let me go over to the voiceover. So just briefly here, if somebody 3 years ago told you the world was going to end, or you had a dream or some kind of vision or whatever, has anything happened in the last 3 years to make that seem like that's far-fetched, that it's not going to happen? Or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago, right? Has anything happened in the last 20 years to dissuade you of the idea that the world, and when I mean the world ending, I mean the system collapsing, the system of human beings? I started making a video on my other channel today that won't be up for till I think Thursday, and there was a poll that was done, and 70% of the people don't want Trump and Biden running in some rematch. Anybody but them, right? Anybody but at least one of them. They don't want both of them to run. And Americans, think about 70%. You can't get 50% of Americans to agree on anything. And they're getting 70% of Americans to agree on this. And they're still running them. They're still walking out these two corpses who we all know suck as presidents. And it's not just politics, it's across the board. The inability to produce something that would be reaffirming about our system and us as people. Pretty much everything that we see points to an apocalypse, right? And the biggest hurdle to get over is that not only have we been indoctrinated with the idea our system would never collapse, but we've never seen it before. And our system runs so well and we're so dependent on it, we take it for granted in terms of our material life. And, if you don't look behind the curtain, it seems like the system is running great, or has been for forever, and we're progressing and things seem to be getting better. And if you don't look at the economic system, you don't look at the moral degradation and all the other factors and symptoms that would lead you to believe that the system's going to collapse and there's going to be an apocalypse, you wouldn't think it's going to collapse, because you just say, oh, it's going to keep on going like this forever. But once the idea is put in your head and you start looking at it a little bit more deeply and you start paying attention a little bit more, you realize that everything that we see looks like the kind of things that happen when something breaks down, something falls apart. If this was a marriage, we'd be headed for divorce. If this was cancer, we would be in hospice, right? Like if the country was cancer or had cancer, the country would be in hospice. I mean, anything that you look at in terms of the ending of something, something breaking apart, something failing, something disappearing, something dying, that's our system. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse. So I've heard, doomsday tales before. My brother was a truther and, an ex-Vietnam guy, and people who have come across this information. Like once you look behind the curtain, you're like, well, how can the system even be running now, right? When you realize the debt-based economic system and you see some of the other aspects of it, you're shocked that that it was going even in the 70s and 80s and 90s. But it's a little bit different now because more and more people are aware of it, and it's much worse than ever before. But back in 1993 is when I was basically told that the system wasn't going to last. And through the, writings and prophecies of my spiritual organization, in a very succinct way and a believable way. And I've been looking at it ever since, not really so much initially when we entered into the 2000s, but after the big event 2001 and the age of YouTube and the age of social media, it became more and more obvious because there's so much more information that the system has been covering up for years. And so it's, interesting that this is where we are, right? That, there just doesn't seem to be anything that's preventing the system from collapsing. No, no personage, no company, new invention, no anything that's here to save the day, right? It's like everything's pointing to the apocalypse, and it doesn't, it's not going to get better. Because the bottom line is that the system goes against God's will, which I say so much, and because of that, it's going to collapse. I mean, it's going to collapse anyway. Even a system that's aligned with God's will, nature, and divinity has its shelf life. Everything has its time in the sun. Everyone has its course in history. And our time is just about up. And I don't know what that means tomorrow or 100 years from now, but it's, relatively soon. I think most people kind of see that. And if you think about it, like just go out and look through, anything, the internet, the interactions you have, going to stores, anything, people you see, and look for something that's life affirming. I mean, there's some things out there, obviously, that would give you hope that the system can somehow be saved. And, you're not going to find anything, right? I mean, I'm not saying, you go look for it, you figure it out for yourself. But anyways, I'm going to put a video up on my other channel today that was going to be up tomorrow. And whenever these videos clear with YouTube, they'll be up here, and it's just going to be like that for a while. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.